Welcome back to Brave Ideas Friday 5. Quick questions, quick answers. And today I'm joined by my friend, Stephen Shedletzky. Shed, it's good to see you again.
Always great to see you, Caleb. Thank you for having me. And let's hope at least 5 questions.
It will be 5 questions. It will be quick and punchy as always. And I think I would expect we might do more of these this year. So let's jump right in. Shed, last year when you were here in London at our talk, it was one of the most highly attended events that we did. Thank you for that. And continuing in that thread, I have quick questions for you here around leadership and company culture. So my first question to you, Shed, is you talk a lot about leadership on your podcast. You've got a book called Speak Up Culture. You're traveling around the world. And you define leadership as the attempt to leave the people and world around us better than when we found them. So if an office building were a leader, what would be better for the people who work inside it?
Regardless of brick and mortar, organizations are still living and breathing organisms because of the people who work there. And so I think the intention should be you showing up here makes you and your day better. It makes our results better as a team. Like nothing pisses me off more than coming to the office so that you can be on Zooms or team meetings all day. No. Unless because we're coming to the office, there's still community or there's resources like exercise and food and all these things that you're like, my choice to still come in, my choice to commute is still worth it. So I think the lens is how can we have this place make the individuals, each other, teams, collaboration, and the work that we're doing better. I'm a big believer, Caleb, as I know you are too, that the nature of the work should dictate where it occurs.
Motivate versus mandate. I love it. Shed, you emphasize the word attempt. It's an ongoing, imperfect, never finished. When it comes to leadership, I would say probably the same thing for culture. But what does an ongoing attempt at positive company culture look like inside of a workplace environment, not just from the CEO, but the actual workplace itself?
I think that the question, what is the job of the space? Like it's very much a jobs to be done point of view. We had this sort of great shift where pre-COVID, we showed up to the office because we showed up to the office and it's like, whoa, no one come. And then now there's sort of been a transformation of space because a lot of space that was used previously for one purpose has shifted. So it's like a design thinking. How can the space serve the people, serve the work, serve what it is that we're trying to do? So I think that, as you said, space is not static, it's dynamic, just as human beings are and the world around us is. So I think it's the question of how can we use this space to best serve what it is we're trying to accomplish here?
Put the customers at the front and center of the universe and build from them for them. Shed, on your wheel of leadership, which I love, you have decisiveness, compassion, and confidence or as the essential attributes. Which one of those 3 is the most often missing component or attribute in how companies design and operate their workplaces and offices today?
So I'd love your answer to this question as well. My answer is compassion. I think we make decisions. I think we might even be confident with these decisions, sometimes perhaps overconfident. But I think the thing we might lack is compassion. Asking questions with curiosity, and even asking the people who will inhabit these spaces during business hours and beyond sometimes, what do you need from it? How can it be more enjoyable, productive, and how can we have the compassionate lens help to dictate how we design that space? I'm curious, Caleb, if you have a similar or different perspective as well.
I agree, and would go deeper to say that that has to be individual. You cannot design for everyone as an average. You have to design for everyone as an individual, which is quite complicated, and that takes leadership to be able to make happen. Now, one of the issues that people often have is when they're making a decision and they pull the trigger, they want to live and die by that decision, and they don't want to change. But often change is needed. You have to be accountable to decisions and then make changes accordingly. So you say, though, accountability isn't guaranteed even amongst leaders who have a big following. So where does accountability break down most in a workplace culture, whether it's leadership or the physical office itself?
Yes, when I was doing the work with my colleague Rich Davini, who's a retired U.S. Navy SEAL, written a couple amazing books called The Attributes and Masters of Uncertainty. We went down the list of like what are the absolute essential requisite attributes of leaders, and we got to accountability. And like every ounce of me wants accountability to be included as an absolute must-have essential attribute that all leaders must display. But unfortunately, there are leaders that we see, feel, and know who do not display any accountability. In fact, it's all blame, and yet they are still followed. And so, though I choose accountability to be a requisite leadership attribute for my team and my relationships, I can't say that it is for all leaders. And so I think it is a lack of self awareness, a lack of humility, and sometimes then an overconfidence or an arrogance, which is actually insecurity. It's just loud. And I think all of that can be linked. There's healthy narcissism, which is a positive belief in oneself. And then there's a derailing narcissism, which goes into narcissistic personality disorder. So I think it really is lack of self awareness, lack of humility, and an overextension on narcissism.
So then, therefore, the opposite of that for leaders in the takeaway is to lean into being self-aware and lean into making yourself accountable for results and changing when you need to.
The true level of self-awareness is when you get feedback of, wow, you really know yourself, or I get a strong sense that you know your strengths and you know your limitations. So self-awareness, again, is one of these attempts. We never arrive. We are always arriving. There's always more work that we can do to learn more about this instrument and better harmonize with the other instruments around us.
Well, then it seems to me that if an organization wants to have a positive culture, they need to facilitate the ability for their leadership to be self-aware. So if you have the environment that caters towards and leans into self-awareness, that makes it easier for leaders to become self-aware, or at least encourages them to be. What does that culture look like?
Yeah, I mean, it's a culture that's full of open-ended reflection questions. It's a culture full of feedback. It's a culture full of coaching and mentoring. It's a culture with a leadership development program, which need not be overly expensive. You can just pick a good and right book, read it together, and reflect upon it.
Which I'll
So,
give you a
I
shout out
mean,
to a book called Speak Up Culture.
thank you. I appreciate that. I will send you some royalties there. But I think it is both a mixture of what's the responsibility of the workplace and what's the responsibility of the individual. It's not on any one, it's on both.
My last question, Shed, and really appreciate you taking the time. You say the only true test of leadership is whether people choose to follow. So in the world we live in today, this hybrid and we work from everywhere and people can choose whether to work from home, come into the office. What does that say about the future of office then?
I am still very bullish that there is a future of the office. There's a job of the office, and it is to provide an opportunity in a space that people go in and I enjoy it and I'm better because, and I can build better relationship because, I can do my work better because. And yet I think we need to acknowledge that we're going to attract and retain better, more diverse talent if we don't mandate and we motivate and we offer hybrid, remote, and in office um, accommodations. I've been parts of remote teams for, gosh, the last close to 20 years, Caleb. And yet I work in leadership development. And so company culture is really important. You don't need a physical space to have a great workplace culture, but it can help and it can heighten and it can build our effectiveness and build our relationships as well. So give people reason to show up both virtually and physically.
Well, you have the right tools in your arsenal. You choose which one to use on a given day.
Totally. Can I ask you a question?
Sure. Flip the script.
So you and I have been friends for many years, and you've always been fascinated and interested in prioritize leadership and culture. My question for you is, for what reason does it matter so much to you?
Mm. Um, well, probably two things. One, my own experiences in experiencing good and bad cultures. But most importantly, in my core, I'm a big believer that entrepreneurial thinking and entrepreneurs with focus on positive impact can make the world a better place. So, in order for them to grow their business and to make a larger impact on the world, I think they have to have a good company culture. They have to be good leaders. And because of my own experience with maybe bad leaders, I want to help encourage more and more entrepreneurs to be good leaders.
Nice. I've tried to take out the vernacular good leader and bad leader, and that there's just leaders that we choose to follow and leaders that we don't. But I think there can be healthy and generative and unhealthy and toxic leaders or workplace cultures, at least for each of us as individuals.
Well, that's why I like our friendship, because I always learn from you.
Likewise. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you for taking the time. I will note that in my vocabulary going forward. Really appreciate it. If you have questions for Shed, we'll put a link to him in the show notes. Drop in comments, DM Shed, follow his podcast. And again, thank you. Until next week, take care of yourself.